present I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue, the antidote to panel games. At the piano is Colin Sell and your chairman is Humphrey Lyttelton.
Hello and welcome to I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue. You find us today at the Theatre Royal in Nottingham, a fine city with a fascinating history. The legendary people's hero Robin Hood spent his life nearby. He famously, on his deathbed, shot an arrow from his bow, asking that wherever in Sherwood Forest the arrow should land, there he should be laid to rest, and the whole area covered with an enormous plastic bubble for visitors to ride bikes and play bingo. It's well documented in official records that the city's original name was Nottingham, or home of snots. But when the Normans came, they couldn't pronounce the letter S, so decreed the town be called Nottingham, or the home of knots. It's easy to understand why this change was resisted so fiercely by the people of Scunthorpe. Amongst its many attractions, the town proudly boasts the Trip to Jerusalem, which is the oldest pub in England, a unique distinction shared with only 117 other English pubs. Coincidentally, the oldest pub in Israel is called the Day Out to Centre Parks. The greatest bare-knuckle fighter of the Victorian age was born here, one William Bendigos Thompson, probably the most famous British boxer until Frank Downey goes Bruno. Another famous son of the city is Albert Ball, who shot down a total of 43 German aircraft. There would have been more, but Mr. Ball was eventually banned from East Midlands Airport in 1983. Let's meet the panel. You wouldn't think four top comedians of outstanding quality with perfect timing, total originality and excellent acting skills would turn out to do this show. And you'd be right. So, let's meet on my left Barry Cryer and Graeme Garden. And on my right, Tim Brooke-Taylor and Jeremy Hardy. And please welcome the lovely lady who's always happy to lend a helping hand when the team's points are on the up, the delightful Samantha. Let's start with a round called Celebrity Misquotes, where I'll be asking the teams to suggest quotations that certain people are most unlikely ever to have said. I'm really going to enjoy this. So there's one for a start. Okay, teams, your ideas, please, of things that might never have been said by the famous, either still with us or appearing on blankety blank. Barry, will you start, please?
Things ever been said. Pablo Picasso. Oh... Can you see what it is yet?
Jeremy.
The Orange Order. Well, I suppose we don't have to go this way.
Graeme.
John Prescott. Let me say this in plain English.
And Tim.
Jonathan Aitken from Ford Open Prison. I'll have breakfast in my room, full works, eggs, bacon. Oh, and a copy of The Guardian.
Horatio Nelson. Half a bottle of Optrex, please.
The Turner Prize judges. We don't know much about art, but tough.
Marcel Marceau. Hello!
St. Paul. I'm sure there's a perfectly rational scientific explanation for this.
Puccini. Well, I'm quite pleased with it, but it is a bit Andrew Lloyd Webberish, isn't it?
Franz Hals. Can't you cavaliers be serious for one moment?
Henry VIII, but I would like to stay friends. O.J. Simpson, watch yourself, that's sharp.
All done.
Bill Clinton. Please, I'm married.
Jonathan Miller, of course I'm no expert on this subject.
We come to a musical round now, teams. It's called One Song to the Tune of Another. And I could almost hear you thinking, as I said the words, one song to the tune of another, what's that all about then? So let me explain. One song to the... In one song to the tune of another, you take the words of one song, that's the one song element of one song to the tune of another, and sing them to a tune, that's the tune element of one song to the tune of another, which has been taken from another song. And when I said song just then, I didn't mean the song in one song to the tune of another. I was simply referring to an abstract song for the purposes of clarifying one song to the tune of another. But I can guess what you're thinking now, teams. Which tune do we sing this abstract song to? Well, actually, you don't have to sing it, as an abstract song is one that exists only in theory. It's not anything worth worrying about. Whereas something that is worth your worrying about is that piano accompaniment will be provided by Colin Sell. Okay, we'll start with you, Barry. Will you please sing the words of Michael Finnegan to the tune of House of the Rising Sun? With you now, Tim, will you please sing the words Tutti Frutti to the tune of My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean?
Wop-bop-a-loo-bop-a-lop bam boom. Tutti frutti, oh rooty, tutti frutti. Oh rooty, tutti frutti, oh rooty. Tutti frutti, oh rooty, tutti frutti. Oh rooty wop, bop, a-loo, bop, bop, a-bam boom. I got a gal named Sue, she knows just what to do. I got a gal named Sue, she knows just what to do.
Okay, Graeme, I'm going to ask you, in the vain hope that you'll refuse, to sing the words of Postman Pat to the tune of Robin Hood.
Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his black and white cat. Early in the morning, just as the day is dawning, he picks up all the post bags in his van. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing and the day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man. Everybody knows his bright red van. All his friends will smile as he waves to greet them. Maybe you can never be sure. Then he'll knock, ring, ring, letters through your door. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing. The day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man.
And finally, a patriotic one for you, Jeremy. Will you please sing the words of Madonna's Hanky Panky to the tune of Land of Hope and Joy?
Some girls they like candy, and others they like to grind. I'll settle for the back of your hand, somewhere on my behind. Treat me like a bad girl, even when I'm being good to you. I don't want you to thank me, you can just spank me. Some girls like to sweet talk, and others they like to tease.
You obviously didn't hear me, Jeremy. I did say to the tune of Land of Hope and Joy. Okay, it's time to pay our regular tribute to that bastion of public service broadcasting where standards of quality are forever held sacrosanct above all other considerations. Radio 4. Okay, so I lied for comic effect. One show that goes from strength to strength despite all the recent changes is the Today programme. 10 minutes of top news and current affairs packed into 3.5 hours of trails. In this game, I'd like the teams to be Today programme presenters, interviewing 2 expert guests. Graeme and Barry, you can start by being the Today presenters. Would you like to start, please, interviewing Tim and Jeremy, who are in the radio car?
Good morning. My name's Humphrey Johns, and this is my enormously fat co-presenter, Sumo Gregor.
Morning.
Morning, Sumo.
We have 2 people in the car, and you ladies, I believe, represent the WI.
Yes, we do.
We do,
Yes.
and we're proud of it.
What does WI stand for?
Women's Institute.
Women's Institute.
And this is a particular occasion that you are celebrating.
We are celebrating National
Cake baking morning.
Morning.
Cake baking morning, and that's today.
Yes.
Who
You're today.
Who says so? Who says so?
Well, we just sort of thought it would be a nice idea, really. you
Women's
know.
Institute bake a cake morning.
But why?
Wait,
What is the motivation?
We think the standards of passing down from mother to daughter, cookery and things like that, we're just encouraging. A lot of people can't afford cakes, so we're baking them for them. It seems to be perfectly
You're giving them away, or are you selling them?
We're giving them away.
Well, what's that going to do to Mr. Kipling's trade, for goodness sake? Thousands laid off, hundreds and thousands laid off, no doubt.
What is the funding?
Yes, who are your backers?
How are you funding?
we just provide our own ingredients, basically flour, eggs and milk, generally. Occasionally fruit.
Yes, we like working with fruit, don't we?
Yes. It has a certain constituent. Sometimes we steep the fruit. And sometimes we just use pre-steeped fruit.
It is incredibly steep sometimes.
There's a gradient.
Are men allowed to join the Women's Institute?
No, I'm afraid not. I think that's a frightfully good idea.
What, that they're not allowed to join?
No. No, I think men should join.
Well, yes or no?
We'd call it Men and Women's Institute.
But that would be neither one thing nor the other, wouldn't it?
No, it would be both.
Well, no, answer yes or no.
Why?
Would it be neither one thing nor the other?
I'll take the money.
Are eggs involved in this?
Well, occasionally they bind.
Yes, they do. Eggs and pains.
Blithely ignoring any salmonella considerations.
We very rarely use salmon or any fish in our cakes. Although we did make a very nice sea bass meringue pie one year.
And some of our fish cakes are the best in
Yes.
I think we've lost the radio car, haven't we, John?
Well, it's time for an old favourite now called Cheddar Gorge, where the teams construct a sentence taking 1 word each, as you could expect from that title. In fact, Cheddar Gorge is one of many thousands of games taking their title from English place names. One example includes Redditch, a competitive form of chickenpox. Dim Church, which involves founding a new religion for stupid people. And a much-loved favourite called Nuneaton, where players compete to be the first to spot Sister Wendy coming out of a spudulite. Okay, teams, I'd like your sentence this week to take the form of an explanation of the rules of cricket. And the object is for you not to complete it. The object is for you not to compete.
I think we can follow by example, Humphrey.
We don't want any gratuitous wit on this programme. If I detect a completed sentence, you'll hear this noise.
How on earth did you do that?
Tim, will you start, please?
Some of
The
players who play
this
sort of indigenous
shenanigans
known as the
game
of glorious, delightful,
sunny
flannelled, boxed,
tedious
yet strangely, though
not
entirely, or to
put
it
Another
sort
of
way,
I
will
remember
Addlestrop.
one
Sunny
evening
when
I
was
young
and
very
keen
on
Gladys, who was
singing
loudly in the
pits.
I think that's covered the rules of cricket, sir.
Right, we're going to have a bit of good old-fashioned fun now with a marvellous game called Hunt the Slipper. Actually, the last time we did this, the teams got rather overexcited because they thought they were going to play Hump the Stripper. The man who was in to take the paint off our door frames got quite agitated as well. In Hunt the Slipper, I'll sit with my eyes closed while the slipper is passed around behind the team's backs. After a few seconds slipper passing, I shall call out, "Slipper search on." And then I'll open my eyes. Obviously, I will have no idea where the slipper is, but the team should keep passing the slipper around secretly, and I shall have to guess who is holding the slipper and challenge them by pointing and calling out, "Slipper holder." I'm 78, for Christ's sake. If I guess correctly, the slipper holder must declare, "Yes, slipper holder." Okay, teams, I'm closing my eyes now. Slipper search on.
Should should somebody
Slipper holder.
Well, no, I was just wondering, should somebody have brought a slipper?
What would have been the point of that? Okay, we have a literary round now called Proverbs in Translation. The English language is overflowing with spare proverbs which could be of use in Europe or even farther afield. But these will have to be translated precisely to avoid confusing our foreign neighbours. It would be like waving a red rag in a china shop if too many cooks skated close to the wind and made them bark up the wrong end of an old dog. So, Jeremy, any suggestions of proverbs to suit foreign countries?
In Germany they say laughter is the best medicine, but unfortunately it's not available on prescription.
In Israel they say, never buy a pig.
In Scotland they have a saying, where there's muck, there's rum and egg. I saw one on a hotel wall in Spain once.
Good Lord.
It's quite a talking point. It's a warning against congestion. Never put all your basques in one exit.
In Holland they also say if the cat fits, put it in.
My favourite French proverb is, don't teach your grandmother to suck existentialists.
Well, in northern Germany, the slogan outside Hans Krupp's weapons superstore says Cold Hands War Mart. And in the Balkans, they have a saying, see a pin and pick it up, and all day long you'll be wondering where the grenade is.
In Washington, they say, where there's a will, there's a way.
In Ireland, don't put the cart before the horse. Actually, it's not a proverb, it's just an instruction manual.
In Eastbourne, they say, there's no time like the, what is it now? And in Rome, they say, Milton Keynes was built in a day.
And in Africa, in the Serengeti Game Park, they say pride comes before a bad moment for a gazelle.
Russia and Chernobyl, 2 heads are better than 1.
In Norway, they say, never look a pissed Norse in the mouth.
They don't, do they?
Do they? I heard it once.
Okay, our next round is a musical one called Swanny Kazoo, which is our salute to the time-honoured coupling of the kazoo's chirpy rasp with the Swanny whistle's soothing lilt. Of course, the history of popular music is littered with great partnerships. Rodgers had his Hammerstein, Lennon his McCartney, and Lloyd Webber his photocopier. Piano accompaniment in this round will be provided by Colin Sell. Many people might not realise that Colin was once a rock legend. Then he expanded into Candy Floss and his stall collapsed. Okay, you're starting this one, Tim and Jeremy. I'd like you to perform I'd Do Anything from Oliver with Jeremy Hardy on kazoo and Tim Brooke-Taylor on the Swanny whistle. Your turn now, Barry and Graeme. I'd like you to provide us with a rendition of Summer Nights from Greece, featuring Barry Cryer on kazoo and Graeme Garden on Swanny whistle. Well, it's very nearly time to go, but not before we enjoy a round of vegetable songbook. Samantha has to nip down to the allotment to help a nice gentleman put his new fertilizer on his tomato plants. She's surprisingly keen to see his grow more in the potting shed. So while she's doing that, I'd like some suggestions, please, teams, of songs likely to appeal to an audience of vegetarians, market gardeners and other vegetable enthusiasts. And Tim, will you start, please?
Yes. You don't get me, I'm part of the onion. It's not bad.
Give peas a chance.
16 tons. That's a little bit over, love. Is that all right?
You say tomato, and I say that's a meal in itself.
Blue suede shoes. By Elvis Parsley.
Mild yams, a dozen.
Super collie, veg fantastic, asparagus, a stroke. Oh, God!
Artichokes and antedotes and little lambs in Ireland.
Donald, where's your tubers?
And now the end is near. It's time to face the Fennel countdown.
Twist and sprout.
Bohemian raspberry.
Sitting with some dock and some bay.
Chicory dickory dock.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as the sands of time blow up the trunks of destiny, and the grit of fate lodges uncomfortably in the winkle of despair, I notice it's the end of the show. So from Samantha, the teams, myself and the fine folk of Nottingham, it's goodbye.
Jim Brooke-Taylor, Barry Cryer, Graeme Garden and Jeremy Hardy were being given silly things to do by Humphrey Lyttelton, with Colin Sell setting some of them to music. The programme consultant was Ian Pattinson and the producer was John Naismith.